Working paycheck to paycheck and still struggling to make ends meet is a reality for many in our country. But over 110,000 in the Toronto region alone are defined as working poor. That's living with a job that earns you between $3,000 and $18,000 in a year. In a moment, Michael Moniz, who has experienced that, he's joined by the researcher who set the definition for working poor, John Stapleton, the senior policy analyst at the Metcalfe Foundation. Welcome them both to Context. John, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Hi, Michael. Great to have you here. Thank you. Wow, John, it's like hitting me like an oxymoron. Working poor. Define how this definition.
It is an oxymoron. And 1 in 16 people who are working in the Toronto region are working poor.
So that is like an incredibly low rate for a single person, $3,000 to $18,000 a year.
If you're looking at a single person making minimum wage full-time at the hours they can get, usually in cleaning or fast food or something like that, then they're just going to be grossing about $17,200 a year.
John, I want to say I'm so grateful Michael has been able to come on with us. And Michael, you just volunteered when we put a call out for a working poor. You came in through our friendship with Yonge Street Mission. Help us understand your life as a working poor. Describe it for us.
It's a struggle every day. You wake up knowing that you have a very limited amount of finances and struggling to meet the needs of not just yourself, but if you have a family, you know, grandchildren, children, you know, they come to expect as well. So you're trying to find a way to meet those needs. It's hard.
You're earning, you shared earlier, $550 a month as a security guard, and
Yes.
you get about an $80 a month top-up from Ontario Works, right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit how do you live off of that? What kind of rent breakdown?
My rent is subsidized. I live at Genesis Place, which is part of Yonge Street Mission. And if it wasn't for that, there's no way that I could afford a place to live. It'd be either on the street or in the shelter. And they really have helped me out quite a bit. Living day to day is hard because I can't afford to buy new clothes. That's out of the question. And I volunteer at the food bank, so that helps out as well. If it weren't for these, there's no way I could make it.
John, is this the face of this statistic? Michael, you've been so open with us. Tell us who they are.
Absolutely the face of it, because we have enterprise zones where people are making very good money, but then they need people to serve them food, to pour their coffee, and to clean their offices and that sort of thing. And that can often be the type of wages that people get. And as Michael said, talking about being a security guard, if you don't get the hours, and frequently people do not get the hours they need, even at minimum wage, and so they'll end up in the working poor population. The person who might serve you food during the day is having to go to the food bank on the way home to be able to make ends meet.
Okay, you started counting this. Tell me what the goal is here for the working poor in the public policy realm.
Well, first of all, we didn't know how many working poor there were in Ontario and Canada. It was always a matter of speculation, and depending on the definition, it went up and down. So people really didn't have a sense. We wanted to do that and also see the quality of the workforce. These are the people who actually, in many ways, hold our workforce together.
Is it rural as well?
It can be rural. It's mostly an urban phenomena, but it can also happen in rural areas.
So your hope is, by now documenting it, by putting this definition on it, and tens of thousands living with this reality, how do we alter the future for this?
There's several things that we can do. One is to make sure that minimum wages are kept up to date. And the government of Ontario made a number of increases to minimum wages between 2005 and 2010 that actually tempered the amount of working poor in our population. But we've gone 2.5 years now, almost 3 years, without a minimum wage increase. So that's important. Also making sure that child benefits are there. And then if you're looking to the private sector, ensuring that they're able to give the hours that people need to be able to get themselves out of working poverty.
Michael, you have done a lot of thinking about this. How do you think your future could be altered on being a working poor Canadian?
What I would like to see is more programs opened, readily available for anybody who wants to further themselves, whether it's schooling, a trade, and not just open, but made easier to access, because it really is hard. For myself, I'm heading in the right direction. I have the right people behind me, and I thank God for that. But
you shared earlier that you were, you didn't just, I would describe you as one of those kids who fell through the cracks. You had a broken home situation, and by grade 9, you're giving up on school. If you had had earlier chances at getting this kind of training, at getting re-educated, would you have taken it, or?
In all honesty, I probably wouldn't have, because of my circumstances, you know, family life and such. Now I'm making the most of every available opportunity.
Wow. John, what is the answer? What kind of things should we as Canadians say, this has got to change?
Well, we can certainly look at taking our welfare programs out of the destitution approach they have right now. The purpose of social assistance ought to be able to get people out of poverty, and often it doesn't perform that job. We have to be vigilant about minimum wages. We have to be vigilant about child benefits, and we also have to make sure that newcomers coming to Canada, because the working poor population is almost 3/4 an immigrant face in the Toronto region. So it's very important that we have good settlement programs for immigrants.
Both of you on this, how did you feel about Senator Hugh Siegel's suggestion, well, not a suggestion, it's an outright campaign, that we have guaranteed floor, that people cannot fall beneath, guaranteed annual income? John?
It's a wonderful vision. We have such a complex array of programs, from EI to CPP and welfare programs.
Your research shows we have over 600 rules to try to get the kind of support John is getting, $80 a month top up.
Yeah. And those rules, we really don't need them. We don't need to be looking at people. You and I, for example, we reconcile our income on a yearly basis through the income tax rules. In social assistance, you have to do it every month.
You know, Michael, I want to close with you because Senator Siegel said, Lorna, people aren't going to sit home with popcorn and beer if we guarantee them an annual income. What do you think about that?
I think I'm right there, and I think that guaranteed annual income needs to happen.
Would people work?
Yes, of course.
They don't want to stay home, underemployed.
No, I'm there, and I can tell you I don't want to stay home. I'd rather be doing something.
All right, both of you, thank you very much. John Stapleton, Michael Moniz, thank you for being with Context.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's time to find out what you think. Did you support a soup kitchen or a food bank this year? We'd just like to know, yes or no. Send us your answers by phone or email, Facebook or Twitter, and our studio audience is going to vote on that, and I'll have those results when we come back. Coming up, God and the working poor, finding God in a financial crunch. Really good, guys. Thank you.